Okay, enable present window. So this is what I had left this there yesterday, and I asked all of you all to create a rectangular grid, right? And I think most of you all have struggled. Has anybody actually managed to do this? Has anybody any responses? Looking on your chat window. This chat window doesn't show up when I'm presenting, so I'm not able to actually follow everything that you guys are doing. Okay, so I mean,
Sir, rectangle for me it was a little difficult, but I was able to do other patterns like something of a curve using three arc. Other patterns I was able to achieve.
okay, no, I want to know first if you managed to manipulate this to kind of adapt to a rectangular grid,
No,
because that would convince me that you all have understood each of these steps here.
uh,
I'll go through that in any case because I think majority of you all have not really managed to do this. Okay, so let's go through these steps. As I said, this block basically didn't need to be changed at all. This thing, no changes required here. In this block, any changes that needed to happen had to happen before. Who's asking for link? Somebody's asking for link. Jacob's asking for link. Can somebody guide him? Do we wait for this boy to join till he figures out? Can't see my screen, Ekta.
Now I can.
Okay. Just let me know if Jacob's joined or not because I lose track of this window when I get to the other screen. Okay, he's joined, is it? Okay, then let's continue here. Okay, now so what I started by saying was that this block of code of nodes did not require any changes to create a rectangular grid. So how do we go about creating this grid? I will, for now, I'll ungroup this again because we'll probably fiddle with this. Now, what did we do here? We looked at every, we kind of extracted. Do I have to go through this entire thing? Or did you all grasp anything here? I'll just explain the rectangular bit, okay? What I will try to explain to you all here is that here this 0 to c minus 2 and c minus 1 was for which one? I mean, basically, let's switch off the preview of those dots. Now here, it is these points that were actually selected. Okay, so this whole exercise was to drop this last row of points. Similarly, this thing here was to drop the first row of points. Okay, that is why we did this C minus 1. This exercise here, this C minus 2 here, was also to drop the same list of points, and the same thing seems to have happened here, but in the other direction. Then what did we do? After we dropped those points, we dropped the first and last list of, we kind of, other than these points here, we then dropped the first column of points here. And here we dropped the last column of points. Here we drop the last column of points. Okay. Is this all clear to you all here so far? You'll have to study this. Okay. This is how I want you all to study this. I mean, basically switch on, switch off nodes and figure out what exactly was done in each of these nodes. In fact, I myself am going to get a little confused as I explain this because I've lost track. I've actually forgotten what we did yesterday. But I know that first here what we did is we used 13 here. I mean, we just taken this list of points here, which supposedly is 13. So I'll get back to something much smaller and simpler and make this 20 and 5. So it's a smaller grid so we can relate to this better. Are my dogs troubling you all too much?
No, sir.
No,
we
my dogs are
understand.
barking in the background. Is that too much of a disturbance?
Oh,
Okay, good.
no.
Okay, so here what we've done here is, as I said, I'll switch off this also because we just look at those points. Now here what we've done is, since this is A and A, we've got, I'll make this even smaller so that I don't have to keep scrolling. Since we've got just 10 points, here what it has done is, this is effectively 0 to 10 dot 5, right? So what has it done? It has created at intervals of 5, it's created points. So effectively we've got 3 points in each list. I'm not going to try to explain this because you guys should have, even if you don't grasp it immediately, I'm sure by studying it you'll be able to get it. Okay. But now what has happened is we've got 3 lists overall under this list here, and within each sublist we've got another 3 lists. Okay. That is because that's all we've put in. We've got, if you look at this, we've got only 3 items here. So those 3 items have created this combination of points because we fed A here and A here. Now let's say we do something else. Okay, say now we'll say the other distance, we want this to be, let's say we want this to be 20, and we'll say we want the same interval, let's say 5 itself. Okay. To this, if I look at this list here, oh sorry, if I look at this list here now, we've got 4 or 5 items here. Here we have 3 items. If I kind of now make this B and feed this into this, do you see the difference? We still got those 3 lists at the top level, but each sublist now has 5 items. You'll see 5 items here. And what has this done in return? I mean, oh, it has done nothing there yet. So now if you want to take this further, we now need to get the count at 2 levels, right? We need 2 counts. One is we need the count of the top list, and we need the count of the intermediate lists. How do we do that? We can do that in 2 ways. One is we either go, like we take list count. Where do you think we should extract this list count from? Let's say first, if I want to get it from this list, I would probably go to list and count what will I get here. I should get 3. Okay. And if I go here and say longest, I should get 5 3 times, and then I'll say I'll just take first item or something, because we know that in this case at least it repeats.
So
And that
I
we
have
have
a
got this.
doubt. How did you get? So in the list there are 5 items. So how did it get? How is it 3 over there in this count?
Here we've got 3, no, Shannon. We got 1 at the top level. We've got only 3 lists.
Okay, no, so it's not counting the sub list then. It's counting
Then we are
the.
counting the sub lists. That's why we got 5 3 times, because within each of these 3 lists, we've got 5 items.
There are. Okay.
When I've changed the lacing to longest, it operates at that sublist level, right? So within each of these sublists, it's got 5 items. So it says 5 5 5.
Okay, got it.
So this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it would probably be to extract the list count directly from this place here. In this case, especially, here we get 5, and here we take this from here to here, we get 3 from A and B basically. Okay, so we're getting our list count from here. This list count is important for us because we're going to use this to kind of feed it into these things here. So now here, if I feed this count into this, and this count into this, it seems to be goofing up. I'm not sure why. I'll have to check it out. It's giving me an error here. Same. 1 minute. I'll just have to sort this out now. Zeros to 1 is okay. Why is that? Okay, here I think C minus 2 is 5. That is okay. C minus 1 is okay. So why are you getting? Oh, sorry. I also have to get these lists into this. Now we're not operating with this anymore. Okay. Now let's go and resolve this one step at a time. Now here I'm getting from 0 to 1, I'm capturing this is similar to the problem that some of you all had, right? I mean, only part of the thing was working, but here I seem to have got it. Something odd is happening here. It's not working exactly as I wanted, but it's kind of taking all points into consideration. So I'm goofing up somewhere. So how do I resolve this? See, this is something that I'll be expecting you all to kind of work along, not work along, resolve this like this, because it's nothing that you can by heart or anything. It's, you have to sit and sort out how this is working. This is the process. So now we got correct. So
I
we need
think
to
the
figure out
start
what the
and the
start and
end
end point is.
points.
So we what we can do here now first is we want to figure out how to draw these lines. Okay. So which is the start and end point here in this list? First, we want to. This is a start point. What is this? This is also start point. So all of these start points we want, except for maybe this last start point we want to drop. Got it? Now, see this list we need. This list we need.
Yes.
This list we need. No, this list we don't need. So we'll need to drop this towards the end. That is that minus thing. So this is kind of right. But what am I doing wrong here in the first list? Here have I got, let's see if we've got all the start points. I'll preview this. I'll switch this off. I'll see here. See here, I've not got what I wanted. Here I basically need to get all these points basically, except for the last one here. So it's from here. I need this. I need this. I need this. I don't need this. So I need 0 to c minus 1, which is okay. Is that sorry?
1. No, I said 1, 1.
0 minus 1, is it? No, there's some other issue, I think, Jacob. I think I've messed up somewhere else. I had said that we don't need to make any changes here, but I'm making changes here because I think my logic is not going right. So I'm going to take back my word. Okay, so now, and we are going to resolve this whole thing together by looking at this whole thing. So right now we need to figure out why we've got this here. So I'm going to just get rid of all this and first see what's my issue here. See how it's goofing up things big time. Let's say auto.
Vikram, just one question I have.
Can
I ask now?
Yeah.
Like what you shared yesterday, right? The square grid one. The square, from the square we were converting it into a rectangle. So logic is if it's a square, the L and B is same, and if it's a rectangle, the L and B are different. That's the logic, right? So
yes.
What I had done was I had just changed in the code block where you've mentioned the range or sequence, right? 0 dot dot s dot dot I.
That is this portion, right?
Hello?
That is this portion, right?
Yeah. So what I did was, because both are same, so because here both are same, I just changed one of the code blocks where the I is mentioned into
Correct.
2 or any value. Like,
got it. I saw what you did,
right?
Ekta, I saw what you did, but by doing that, all you did was all you did was you managed to create a rectangular grid, but then all this point association in that grid is something which almost all of you have missed out. You have not been able to do this. So this is what you guys need to look at now. Okay, so I'm going through it step by step because my assumption that we didn't need to change this block was wrong. Okay, if I probably didn't do it properly enough yesterday to enable that. Okay, so I'm redoing this, but this is the logic that we need to follow. Okay, just a minute. I'll just change the network. I'm assuming you guys have some trouble with this network. I'm just changing my network.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Hopefully audible. Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So what I'm doing here is now this is what we've got here, this entire list. Okay. Now, first step I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get only the first points of all these lists. I'm going to switch off these lines also that we had created. I'm just going to first get this row of points. Okay, so from this list, I want only these two because these are going to be my start points. Now, from these start points, I need to knock off this last bit, these last two, because these can't be start points, right? We don't have anything that goes further. So I'm going to, for that, we're going to go here and use this drop items and the last item and make this lacing longest. Now if you see, here we got only these points. So imagine if you're looking at diagonal lines going like this, these will be the start points of all diagonal lines going like this. None of these will be the start points of diagonal lines going this way, right? Now what's the next thing? We're going to get the end points of each of these diagonal lines. That means I should get all these points. This block of points we need to, because if the lines are starting from any of these points, they will all end at these points. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to drop the first item on the list. So I've got all of these points here now, and now I need to drop the first item of this here. So these two I need to drop. So I'll go here, I'll say lacing longest because I want to drop the first item of each of these lists. This first point and this first point. This point and this point I want to drop. Okay, so I'm going to say, oops. So I'm going to say drop the first item, that is 1, and I'm going to say lacing longest. Now if you see here, this one should have all these points, which is all the end points of all diagonal lines. How do we prove that now? If I switch this on, you will see you've got all these lines here. Okay, start point, end point, start point, end point, start point, end point. This is taken care of. Now we want to do the same thing in the other direction, right? We want now from here to here, here to here, here to here. So I'll switch this off again. Now what we need to do, we want to draw lines like this. So what's the first thing I need to, if I want the start point now for lines going this way, and the start points are all going to come in this side, right? It's not coming, we don't have any start point on the first column. So what's the first thing we do here? We kind of take the start points from 1 to C minus 1. We'll take start points, okay? Undo whatever I had done yesterday. Why am I getting an error? Okay, here I am starting to goof up. So what do I need to do? This first thing is this one. So yeah, I want to drop this. So I want to take from index 1 to C minus 1. So that is from 1 to O. Here I think I was wrong. Sorry. What did I do now? I need to go through this once again. Now here we've got 5 points which are in the columns, and here I've dropped 1, 2. So this is okay. So now here I need to drop the first thing here. Where am I going wrong with my logic, people? I'm going wrong somewhere. No, I think it should be the same thing. C minus 1. Okay, so this I've just done it by not really talking you all through this. Let's see if this works. Okay, so it's working. Okay, people, now tell me what I'll need to explain here, because I know I kind of confused you all here. Tell me.
How do you know which one to choose to change the lacing for?
How to know which?
Let's do from get item at index.
From get item at index, is it?
Code block we can understand, like what to minus and all.
Okay.
The list
So let's.
count.
Huh?
We've understood you've done the code block. After that, the list count you have considered, but that changes as per the integer slider, right?
Yes. But
Yeah.
how does it
Okay.
change? Now here, and contrary to what I had assumed, I thought that we'll need to use both the list counts. But for this pattern, doesn't seem like we need it. We'll get to some other pattern where we'll need to. Here, I've used only this one list count, and we managed to do everything. Okay. But
How do we know we need one or two?
no, that
when we are doing it.
When you're doing it, you'll know. I mean, like for example, here, what's the logic that we're going to? Here we've got, say, these 5 items in this list. Okay. Now, what are we going to do first? We want bracing like this, and we kind of bracing from one point to this point, right?
Okay.
This is going to be your start point. So assume, okay.
So we use the B variable for getting the rectangle, right?
To get a rectangular grid.
Yeah. So then why we need to separate list count? Because
We are not using for this pattern, we are not using separate list count.
Yeah.
Okay, in future I'll see if I can think of some pattern where we will need to use both. Okay, but here we don't need to. We're using only this one list count.
Okay.
Okay.
But one more thing, Vikram, because this is a smaller grid pattern, so we are getting a list count like 5. If it's on a larger scale, it will automatically show like the list count, or it's the same process if it's on a larger scale.
See.
Yeah. Okay.
Now what's the list count?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the scale does not matter. I mean, in computational design, very often the scale does not matter. It's the logic that this one framework is all that matters. So this basically has created. So the scale doesn't matter to this. But this framework is what you come up with at a small scale in most cases. You basically try to resolve your logic at a very small scale first, and then you should be able to scale this easily once the logic is clear. Once the design intent is kind of coded in this, the scale doesn't usually matter. Now this is a simple pattern, not the number of units does not matter. The pattern is simple. Basically, you've only taken one point to this point, this point to this point. Okay, so you just have to think about how you do it repetitively. Yeah.
So in this code block 0 .c minus 2 we have done, that is for dropping the list, like the count, like counting from the 2, right? Like the from below 2 points of the grid. Is it that?
No. See, now what is the list count here is 5. Okay, so that means here now let's look at this one block, Sneha. Okay, I look at this one block. What have we done here? We have got all these items. Okay, what are we trying to do? First, we are trying to draw this line, these diagonals.
Okay.
Okay, so which are the start points of all of these diagonals? Here, 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 and this, and this. Right? These are the start points of these lines.
So 0 is the start point, and
look, if you're looking at only these lines, which are the start points of each of these lines? Look at these not as continuous lines. Okay, these are, every line goes from one point to another point.
Yeah.
Okay, so which are the start points? So first we are trying to get only the start points of each of these lines, which is each of these. Which is, first step to get that is we going here and taking 0 to c minus 2, which is we're taking 0 from index 0 to index 3.
Okay.
Because we're going from 0, 1, 2, 3. So because all our start points end at this. Here there is no start point to any line.
Okay.
Okay, so that is why we've taken 0 to 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
But then we've got this, but then again from this, what was our next step? We wanted to drop all the top items from each of these lists. Okay. Because these are not start points. Right? Okay. These are not start points in for any of these lines. So we want to get rid of these points next. First step is we got rid of this entire column by taking only 0 to c minus 2. Okay. Next, within each of these lists, we want to drop the last items of each of these lists. Okay. So that we do this longest lacing, and then we drop those last items. So if you look at what's the result of this step, it is only these points. These are the only start points, right, of each of your lines? Yeah. I want you all to really go through this, okay? The way I'm just saying this, because I think Cynthia's class is going to start in a little while, so we probably wouldn't be able to do much more than this. But I want you all to do this by yourselves. I will not post this file today. See if you all can do this yourselves. Okay. Okay. The same logic I've applied here. Now, what have we done here? Here we wanted the endpoints. So for the endpoints, all the endpoints are at this end, right? Of all these lines, it's all here. We don't have any endpoints in this column. But again, here for the endpoints, we need to drop this first row also, right? Because all the endpoints are only at this end, not here. So how do we do that? Here we've gone in, first we've got these points. And then from this list, we've dropped the first item of each of these lists.
Okay.
Which is what we've done here. Okay, so now you've got a list of start points and you've got a list of end points, and then you've drawn these lines which join start point to end point. The very same logic is repeated here. In fact, I will post this file because I think the earlier file was not correct. It's the very same logic that is applied here, and we've done this. And when you fiddle with these sliders, you get your patterns. Okay. Now say we can also fiddle with the interval to get other kind of patterns. Okay, so you just have to build the logic once and everything is applied. Shall I give you just one task? Okay, now to kind of with this, so that to prove to me that you guys have got it. I want you all to kind of create circles. See if I can create circle in any plane, whatever plane, doesn't matter to me. Circles or something at every start point. Example. Okay, I'll do it for 1. I know I won't. I mean, then it becomes very simple. But use the circle node. Point center point radius. Center point can be the start points, and just specify a radius. Okay.
So it's for the grid you're talking about, on the grid circles.
Yes, I mean basically as you increase the grid, I should get. Okay, let's get this circles at the start points of only one of. Yes, it will come on the grid. Or shall I just? No, I don't want to show it to you.
It will come on the grid, but.
Okay, I will show this to you all on the start point of a thing. Okay, it will come on the grid. So basically, now say if I put this here, and I say radius is, what should be the radius? Let's say 5. We've got these circles. Okay, just to make this a little complicated, what I want is, like now you see these circles here like this. It's in the XY plane, by the way.
So can you show that again? I was writing something, so I missed it.
There's nothing here, Shannon. I've just shown a circle.
I mean, yeah. Okay, you connected to the drop items. This thing. Got it.
So basically, I've just put it to the start point of all these things. Now, what is my task for you guys? I want a circle at these points where the lines intersect. Can I develop some logic and come up with a way where these circles come at this point? Got it?
We'll try.
It should be very simple. Can I think of it? Can I think about how you can do this? Ideas?
Move the origin of the circle. No.
Yes, you have to move the origin of the circle, but to where?
Midpoint of the lines.
Exactly.
Circle by 3 points or something.
No. Just this node, you just need to move the center point to something else. What Ekta was saying was right.
But we have to provide a point right there, intersection point over there.
Correct. No, you don't need to intersect. I mean, if like from your sense of geometry,
Yeah.
From your sense of geometry, what do you think will be that point?
Midpoint.
Exactly.
Or there should be some node like circle at midpoint or something.
No, Sneha. You don't need any node.
Can we change the start points?
No, you don't. If you change the start point, you mess up your pattern. So the pattern remains as it is. See, what you need to understand is this thing is something that's a progression. So you finished one step, don't mess up what you've already done. So don't go back and change something. Once you've achieved something, then you build on it. Okay, so you've created these lines. Now from the line, you need to extract the midpoint, which you know how to. And then just draw a circle at it. It's a one-step process.
Okay.
Or two steps, sorry. Circle is one. The circle is the last step. Before that, there's one step.
Sir,
Okay.
I lost
Yeah.
it.
You lost
Where
what? Full.
Entire points on the same plane.
In the sense, what did you lose, by the way, Jacob?
No, I didn't understand. Like the circle, where do we have to draw? Like how do we have to?
I want you to first create this grid on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I want you to draw a circle at the intersection of two lines.
Ah, okay.
That's it. Like that
Yes.
circle that I showed you how to draw.
Yes.
I want you all to draw a circle at the intersection of these two lines. Okay.
Yes.
So what I'll also give you all one more task to keep you all a little more occupied and see if you really got this thing. I'll quickly, since we've got another 10 minutes, do you all want anything clarified, or shall I give you all another task?
Sir, we can do it like we create a parameter on that every line and create a circle on that XY
Jacob,
plane.
I want each of you to resolve this. Quite, yeah, correct. You got it. Ekta already gave half the answer. You give the other half.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, fine. So those who've heard it should be able to figure this out. If you don't, it's a very easy thing. Okay, as Jacob's already said, and as Ekta's already kind of outlined, it is nothing. It's very simple. Which is why I'm now going to give you all one little task, which let's see if you can look at. Okay, I'm going to go to that whiteboard that we had yesterday. Whiteboard. Okay. Now let's say we've got, again, let's create. I'm just going to create one small part of a grid. I want it to be similar to what we've done here. How do I draw this? Say if we've got okay, Jacobs is saying that maybe we should look at the commands and logic without Dynamo. I think that's difficult, Jacob. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Okay, let me try to do that here in this next exercise that I want you guys to try to work by yourselves. Now, see if you all can now create a pattern like this for me. Do you think you all can do this?
In the grid?
Yes. I mean, you'll have to start with a grid.
New, okay.
You guys will have to start with a grid, but then you have to create the same concept, the same thing like how we've done here, like how when we kind of scale this up, it kind of scales up. The same thing like this. Instead of there's a cross grid like this, and you'll create something like this. Where do you think you'll have trouble?
Start and end points will be different.
Dropping the list as a pattern.
Across.
Figuring the start and end.
Sorry?
Dropping the list like a pattern, like alternative dropping
Yes. How do you drop exactly? Which is what you'll need to figure out. Okay. So for that, there is a node called take every nth item.
Yes.
So explore this node. This is the only additional node that you all will need in addition to what we've done here. But the logic you'll still have to figure out. You will need to use longest and things like that somewhere. Lacing will be important, but try to see if you can create this pattern.
Okay.
Okay. And Jacob, I think it'll be very difficult to just explain this logic without the nodes because it's very specific to these concepts, no?
No, like I was saying, like if you're saying like this is start point and this might be the end point, I don't think like people are like visually considering the same points what you are telling, I think.
Okay, so basically on this whiteboard, if I explain that first and then go to Dynamo, it'll make more sense, you're saying, is it?
Yes. Because
Okay,
that
fine.
lines, what you were drawing, I was considering as a like 2-3 lines, like separate. First.
Okay, fine. So let's go through that process. Let's try to do that right now in the next 2 minutes, and then I think we better stop and you guys start with your next class. Now let's say if this is the case, if this is the grid. So now first you'll have to consider only these points, and you'll have to look at this as one start point, this as one start point, this as one start point, this as one start point. Okay, and then if this continues, maybe further. Okay, and then if you're looking at endpoints, you'll have to look at this as one endpoint, this as one endpoint.
Yeah.
This as one endpoint, this as one endpoint. Sorry about the sequence. I should have said this as one endpoint, this as one endpoint. And then the problem for you while getting the start points though is in this list, in this first row, you have to get every alternate point, not every point like what we've done now with the diagonal grid. Okay, so how
and endpoints will be common.
Endpoints will not, yes, will it can be common, right? Because it will be the endpoint will be the same for this and for this.
And
so once you extract the endpoint, you can probably use the same endpoint. Okay, but dropping this point here will be your challenge. Okay, so how you do this, just check it out, because if you guys manage to do this and get this logic right, you all will be able to do any pattern. But this will take effort. I'm not expecting you all to do this overnight. Okay, so please don't be discouraged if you don't manage this. If once you'll get this, anything is possible.
Yes.
Okay.
We still have to work on the first pattern.
Yes, first try to work on the next first pattern, and if you understand the logic without my help, it will be great for you.
We'll first study the pattern you just did, and then we'll try doing this.
Yes, but please try, please practice. I am definitely not expecting all of you all to get this at all. Okay. But please make an attempt to kind of understand this. We will work on some more stuff like this. I will also demonstrate how to do this, but make an attempt to kind of do this yourselves.
Okay.
Done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fine. Have a good day. Have a good class.
Sir, you told command. What is that command?
Sorry?
You told leave.
Take every nth item.
Every end item.
Okay.
Nth item. Okay.
Nth item. I will put this. I will post this recording once it's available on the group.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. Okay. See you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Yes. Bye, sir.
Yeah.
Huh? ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಏನು